Hey guys, my name is Sonia, and today I am going to talk to you about Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. Okay, I'm going to try and be brief with this because I feel like editing 12-minute videos and uploading 12-minute videos and watching 12-minute videos or longer is a bit of a hassle. So, I'm going to try and keep it brief. Also, gotta apologize for not uploading for the past 2 weeks. I was going to upload my live watch and reaction of the second episode of Shadowhunters, but again, it was a 45-minute long video that I had to sit and edit, and I just didn't have time. Also, after seeing the third and the fourth episode, I'm gonna still watch it, but it's better now. Fourth episode is definitely better than the third, but we're gonna put that aside. So I finished this not last Thursday, Sunday. I finished this Sunday. Holy shit, it's already Thursday. Quick summary about this book. It is about two girls. One's named Safia and one's named Iseult, or that's how I pronounce it. And the two of them are best friends. It's set in this land called, in this new world created by the author called the Witchlands. So Safia is a Truthwitch which is a kind of witch that's able to tell truth, as in the name, and Iseult is a thread witch who can tell based on the thread colors that she can see what the other people are feeling. And so the two of them are best friends, and it's about their adventures through this land. A couple of unfortunate incidents happen in the beginning that upset their lives, and so they're on the run. It's basically them trying to get out of the crap storm that they put themselves in and figure out their place in the world during these politically unstable times. I've come to realize that I'm not good at giving summaries because I tend to spoil everything. So again, those of you who haven't read this book, go read it because this video is going to be permeated with spoilers. I give this book a solid 4.25 stars. It was frankly amazing. I loved it. The characters were so full of life. The main characters were just so full of life. The story is rejuvenating. It is it's original, although I did pick up some Avatar vibes from this. Not Avatar Blue Monkey, Avatar as in Airbender. Yeah, but it felt a lot like Avatar, but it definitely was a fresh story to read. And it's also, frankly, very refreshing to see two female main protagonists whose friendship is a key instrumental part of the story, and it's just very refreshing and it's wonderful and I love it. Couple of quick critiques about this book. Like I said, it felt a lot like the Avatar a little bit, but after you get into the books, into the content, it's definitely not like it. It took me a little bit to pick up pace with this. I think I didn't really get into the story until like page 80 to like 100. That's where things started to pick up pace, which is a little late in my opinion for a book to get interesting, but better late than never. And it's just the first book, so I think this was a very good setup for what this series could do with itself. It's a fantastic first novel, and I think the author, Susan Dennard, is going to do wonders with this. Another thing, the characterization. The four main characters, we have the two, Safia, Iseult, then we have Merrick, who's the prince and the love interest, and then we have the anti-hero, whose name I can't remember. Oh, I opened to the right page, Aidwan. He's the anti-hero. And I think those four characters have like a declining amount of backstory given. Safia, you have like a decent amount. Iseult, like just on par with her. Merrick, a little bit less, and then Edouan, not so much. But I think because he's the anti-hero and kind of an antagonist in the series, it's appropriate for him to not have as much information in the first book, because giving that away might just spoil further plot points and plot twists. So that's fine. I'm not complaining about that, but just the fact that that was a little lacking. Another thing is, there are so many types of witches. Thread Witch, Truth Witch, then there's the Glamour Witch, Blood Witch, Void Witches, a couple of those, and there's Metal Iron Witch, Earth, Water, Air, like, so many, and the intricacies weren't properly explained. I felt like it definitely needed a little bit more, you know, just because it's a setup book, just to explain what the witches were, how, and like a key part of what they were. That would have been helpful. It might have clarified a lot of foggy things in the book. It would have clarified and definitely helped with that. And also the tales about the Car Awen and the origin wells and all of that, having some context on what those were would have been interesting, because it seems like already that the two main characters are the Car Awen, based on the monks who are, you know, sentenced to protect them. So we've already got like a major revelation in the first book, but it's not explained enough for it to be, oh my god, this just happened, it already happened. So it's not impacting me yet, which I feel like it should, because it feels like it's an instrumental part in what these characters are going to do later on, and how this the myth and the religion and the faith ties in with that. So it didn't really explain that very well, which I was a little disappointed about, but the plot definitely carried it through. There's so much happening. There's so much happening within what's happening. Like, there's a couple major points, but the smaller subplots that go on make the book so wonderful and so interesting. Another thing about the characters, while the four main characters were like adequately and appropriately given characterization and backstory and context, some of the supplementary characters like Polly, Merrick's thread brother, her Safi's uncle, and the queen that she goes off with, who played somewhat instrumental parts in a couple of things that happened, didn't really add up. It didn't, because of the lack of context given to those characters, the things that they didn't really, you know, didn't really have the effect on me that I thought the author intended them to, especially Merrick's threadbrother, whose name I can't really recall again. He, spoilers, just spoilers, he in the end sacrifices himself, right? He's got, I guess, some kind of breathing respiratory issue, asthma, maybe, bronchitis, I don't know. He's got some kind of respiratory issue, but ironically he's an air witch, something. So he creates a hurricane or a storm in the end, which drains all of his power, and then he starts to cleave, and dies, and so Merrick loses his thread brother in this grand act of like trying to protect him or something like that. But it really didn't hit me hard enough, you know. Losing a main character loses a beloved. I didn't feel for him. I didn't feel for Merrick losing him. I didn't tear up when it passed away. I would have liked, even in the first book, for him to have a little bit more, just so that, you know, it hit me a little harder, and I connected a little more with Merrick in the book. So in that context, like, a couple of major key points that happened in the book were subdued and weren't as effective, because the supplementary characters, the side characters that participated in those acts didn't have as much sway in what was going on. Like, Polly, yes, sufficiently. Safia managed to explain him in the fact that, you know, he protected her from being detected and that and whatnot. So his his disappearance and him playing a part in helping to get Safia escaped. Yes, that I felt for. I'm wondering if he's a different kind of witch that hasn't been explained, because it feels like, based on what's happening in the book, that he's able to mask his scent or like change his scent so that Edouan can't tell if he's there or not. That was like really freaky interesting. With the queen, where Safia in the end agrees to go off with the queen of one of the countries, the Iron Witch Queen. She takes Safia away because she realizes that Safia is a Truthwitch. So it didn't really seem like a pivotal moment, especially since it was at the end of the book. It wasn't really shocking. And again, like I said, Merrick's Threadbrother's death, pivotal moment at the end of the book, but didn't feel like it because there wasn't much for me to be tethered on to the character's death. It just didn't feel like a grand moment. What holds me onto this book so much is the friendships. Like, that's a key aspect of this book, as have most other readers who have read this book will tell you. It's such a key aspect between Safia and Iseult and Merrick and his Threadbrother, and just the friendships in this book are just lovely and so refreshing to read. And yes, of course, Safia and Merrick have a thing, which is bound to happen, but it's not a focal point. It's there, and it's adorable, and in the end, when they kissed, it wasn't the first kiss that hit me hard, it was the second one, where she's like, I don't know if I'll see you again, and he just holds her face and kisses her. That's where my heart stopped, and I cried a little bit. That was a kiss that hit me hard. All the feels everywhere. But the relationship between Safia and Iseult, oh my god. Oh my god. And it's not like the two of them can't live without each other. It's, their relationship is so close, and it gives me life. It makes me so immeasurably happy. So that's basically critiques and praises about the book. A couple questions that I have about what's going to come later on I want to know. So the book didn't really end on a cliffhanger, except for the fact that Safia went off with the queen lady to become her envoy to tell truths. What's going to happen with that? It seems like Safia seems to have resolved her internal struggle of not having a purpose in life, and she's finally found her purpose, and so she's gone off in peace. Like, how are we going to see her when things come back up? Is she going to be enslaved of sorts? Is she going to be like a public entity? Is everyone going to know that she's there? Especially the fact that she negotiated a trade agreement between Merrick's country and the Queen, and is Safia going to be present for those things? Because she's the one that forced it to happen, so is she going to oversee and make sure that the trade happens fairly? And when Safia and Merrick do potentially interact, what's going to happen there? Because they kiss, they have a thing. They have a thing. Is it going to be awkward? It's going to be happy. Is he going to be pissed off? And what happens to Iseult? She ends up not saving her thread sister, and Safia's gone off in peace, but Iseult doesn't know that. Iseult is most likely going to look for Safia because that's likely what's going to happen, but does she end up with the puppeteer? She's going to end up meeting the puppeteer in the second book, isn't she? That's going to happen. I don't want that to happen, but it's going to happen. And how is the puppeteer and Edouan, how are the two of them related? Edouan's dad has employed the puppeteer? Does Iseult find out about that? How is that? Oh my god, that's gonna be really interesting to read about. I'm really interested to see what happens between Edouan, the puppeteer, and Iseult. Like, something's gonna happen, because oh my god, that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to. Another thing about Safi, she has had two major issues. One being that she felt like everyone that she loved, she did something wrong to, and they ended up leaving her, except for Iseult, but that would happen eventually. And the other thing was that people accused her, or her uncle accused her of having no sort of ambition. And so that ambition issue was sort of resolved when she sacrificed herself to go with the Queen, but she left Iseult, so is that guilt gonna plague her? I want to see how that pans out. So this book has some really interesting dynamics. I hope this theme of friendship being a key instrumental part of these people's lives continues throughout the rest of the book. I really hope the author expands more on the witches, the backgrounds of the land, and the mythology and the fates, the origin wells, the Karawen, and the monks, and how all of that ties together. I just want to know more about that. Yeah, overall, this book was amazing. I'm so glad I bought it the day it came out. This was like a great freaking investment. No regrets about this book. It's a beautiful, beautiful novel. Everyone, all of you who decided to sit through this video without reading this book, why? Go read it. Susan Dennard, congratulations on writing a fantastic book about two lady protagonists who are BFFs. Great job. Can't wait for this next book, and I can't wait for the second book. I don't know where. So stoked for the next book. That concludes my mini freak out and book talk about this book. Hope you liked it, and stay tuned for the next video. I'll see y'all later. Bye!